It'll take a minute to get started anyway.
Okay. All right, let's see who we have here. All right, we've got all the commissioners present. All right, looks like we're streaming, and at this point in time, I'm going to call the December meeting of the Huntsville Housing Authority to order. At this time, we'll do a roll call of commissioners that are present. Commissioner Bolte.
Here.
Commissioner Fountain.
Sorry, I muted myself. I am present.
All right, no worries. Commissioner Willie.
Present.
Last but not least, Commissioner Sullivan.
Present.
All right. And I am present as well. And so we have a full, complete Board of Commissioners for this meeting. Our next action here is to approve the minutes dated November 15th, 2021. Those minutes were disseminated out to the commissioners. Hopefully you had a chance to review them. And at this time, I'll entertain any motions related to the minutes.
I'll move for approval. Second.
I heard Commissioner Willie. She moved that we accept the minutes as sent out, and Commissioner Fountain seconded. Any discussions or errors, corrections, modifications needed to the minutes before we call the question?
I believe they did send out amended minutes today, so that would be the ones we should be approving.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Commissioner Bolte. I have to say that I did not see the email for the amended minutes, so I will not be able to chime in. But based upon those amended minutes that we are going to be voting on, any changes or modifications to those that were sent out? Okay, hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the amended minutes for the November Huntsville Housing Authority meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. The minutes have been approved. Thank you so much for that. We don't have any old business on the agenda, so we'll go straight to new business. And Executive Director McGinnis, we'll hand the floor over to you. Why do I not see Executive Director McGinnis on my Zoom? Am I missing something?
He was on.
He may have
There he is.
dropped off. Oh,
Okay.
there he is.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that. I was giving some clarification on something. Appreciate it. We're going to go right into the financial report. Teresa Wade will give us that. Again, I apologize for that, but I also wanted to say welcome to everybody, and glad everybody could make it out to this meeting, wherever you may be. But Teresa, we'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon. My first order of business is to ask the board to act on a resolution approving third quarter charge-offs for the quarter ending December 31st, 2021. This is resolution number 43. It states that whereas Huntsville Housing Authority has on its book balances owed by former residents in the various low-income developments operated for HHA for the period ending December 31st, 2021 in the amount of $17,414.66. There are a total of 33 accounts that we are writing off. These accounts are broken down into two categories, the vacates and the evictions. Under vacate, we have 10 that did not pay rent, 5 that are deceased, 4 were non-payment of maintenance charges, 5 abandoned their units, and 5 went to nursing homes. We also have 4 that were under eviction due to non-payment of rent, and criminal activity, stating 2 of those apiece. So the total accounts being written off is 33 accounts. Those accounts break down as follows. Rent is $10,024.70. Maintenance charges, $2,507.96. Court costs, $1,134. Late charges, $1,508. Retroactive rent, $2,060. And bulk cable of $180. Whereas HHA has made and is making reasonable effort to collect said balances. Whereas March is the last month of the fiscal year and all vacates will be written off at that time. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, the Huntsville Housing Authority, that the aforesaid accounts in the amount of $17,414.66. Do you have any questions about the accounts that we're writing off? Okay, so there are no questions, and this is resolution 2021-43.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, we've had resolution number 43 presented to us, and this is a resolution approving the third quarter charge-offs for the quarter ending December 31st of this year. I'll entertain any motions for this resolution.
A motion for approval.
Commissioner Sullivan, motion to approve resolution number 43. Is there a second? Commissioner Bolte, seconded. Any discussion on this resolution? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of approving resolution number 43 pertaining to the third quarter charge-offs for the quarter ending December 31st, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. My second item is the presentation of cumulative low-income housing finance report for the period ending October 31st, 2021. Beginning on page 14 to discuss total revenue, which is at a percentage of 15%. The increase in other income is due to the following: repayment of the Balch Road development loan in the amount of $488,480, developer fee revenue in the amount of $200,546, and the sale of multiple old vehicles in the amount of $33,854. Moving forward to page 15 of the page 15 for you, and explaining total tenant services. The allocation of resident services personnel to grant-funded positions resulted in a favorable variance for this reporting period. Also moving further down the page to total protective services, this unfavorable variance is an increase to protective services due to a new security contract for Todd and Johnson Towers, providing 24-hour services. Moving forward to the last page of the financials of collection loss, the favorable variance is due to the amount of monies we have collected that offsets the bad debt expense. So at this current time, our year-to-date total income is $1,485,260 compared to the year-to-date budget where it stands at this moment is $33,275.30. Do you have any questions about these financials? Okay. I will move to my next item, and that's the presentation of the CARES Act funding for the period ending October 31st, 2021. Mr. McGinnis met with me because we got a call from the HUD field office and they wanted us to go ahead and fill in the remaining $20,000 that we had on our books because this grant will expire December 31st. So at that point, I drew down salary and benefits for the LR Patton site to exhaust the total amount of the CARES Act funding that we have received. Do you have any questions about the CARES Act information that you're being presented? This will be the last time I will present it since we are at a zero balance with CARES Act funding.
Yeah, Teresa, could you speak on drawing down salaries to do that? How does that work?
Well, the administrative salary and benefits were sitting on our regular public housing books that we had, that we incur our expenses each month. And so site 14 is the one that had funds available. So we took those admin salaries out of the public housing bucket and moved them over to the CARES Act funding. So that's what we did with the admin salaries and benefits of $20,129. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes, will that require a revision to your current budget?
I am going to be presenting you a budget revision in February so that we can more closely align our expenses to revenue. So yes, you will have a budget revision coming forward in February.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This question probably, Tracy, you can answer this if you have the information, but are we getting any indication about any potential future related funding coming from HUD?
Not any future CARES Act funding, no. We have not heard anything. We do have some CARES Act waivers that have been initiated that we're going to apply for, but no more funding under CARES Act for housing authorities. We haven't heard anything at this time.
Okay, all right. So nothing supplemental based upon the current ongoing state, right? Okay.
No, sir. No, sir.
I guess that was wishful hope. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you, and everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Teresa. We appreciate it. Next up would be Public Housing Operations, Terry Boyd.
Good morning to everyone. I only have one item to present to you today. It is a resolution approving revisions to the admissions and continued occupancy policy, which is resolution number 2021-44. I'm asking you to act on a resolution approving the revisions of the admissions and continued occupancy policy, better known as the ACOP. The Housing Authority is required to adopt an admissions and continued occupancy policy for Housing Authority staff in the public housing side to follow in determining eligibility for admission and continued occupancy of public housing. This policy is revised periodically, normally once a year, to provide the latest regulatory and statutory changes and to enact policies that encourage administrative efficiencies. The items that we have changed for this year to follow policies that have changed within the HUD guidelines or notices are to make our hearings virtual. For the most part, public housing hearings that are requested by our applicants or our residents have remained as virtual hearings. We've done those by telephone. In addition to another change is that we have added in that the designated housing plans must be submitted to the HUD state office whenever there is a change or every 5 years, whichever comes sooner. We've also added that our eligibility interviews will be done remotely by telephone or by computer. And also we've changed the eviction notices due to a PIH notice that came out on October the 7th of 2021 that extends the eviction notification from 14 days to 30 days. And so all residents that would receive an eviction notice would receive 30 days and also be given the information necessary to give them resources to cure before that eviction takes place. Now, this is in our ACOP, but I will also tell you that currently we are not evicting for rent. That would be a sum of all of the changes that are in there. So I am asking the Board of Commissioners of the Huntsville Housing Authority to adopt the revised admissions and continued occupancy policy and resolve that the Executive Director, CEO, is hereby directed to operate in accordance with the revised policy as adopted. This is resolution number 2021-44.
Commissioners, it's been presented to us, resolution number 44, approving revisions of the admissions and continued occupancy policy for public housing as presented by Ms. Boyd. At this time, I'll entertain any motions for this resolution.
I'll move for approval of the resolution as presented.
Commissioner Fountain, any second?
I second.
Commissioner Sullivan seconded. Any further questions or discussions pertaining to this resolution that Ms. Boyd might be able to answer for us?
Terry, this is Jim Bolte. Just to confirm and to document, these changes are required by HUD, right? I mean, you've got them laid out, you know, the page number and the section number. These aren't things we came up with. These are absolutely required to stay in compliance with HUD, correct?
Through a series of waivers and PIH notices, HUD updates the rules and regulations that are in effect that we should be following. Therefore, as we gather those on normally an annual basis, we include those in our admissions and continued occupancy policy. They're by no means anything that we just dream up. They are rules and regulations that are best practices for the housing authority to be following in the administration of the public housing program.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I know in at least the previous year or years, there's been some changes to this policy that warranted some discussion on the board. Not to have to add to your level of tasks that need to be done. I think if we could have it to where moving forward in the future, these proposed changes are maybe presented to the board or at least provided to the board before the board meeting. These are fairly standard and simple, in my opinion, changes. But just in case, it would be nice for us just to maybe be able to put our eyes on it before the board meeting. So nothing in significant amount of time. And I might forget next year that I even made this request, but I'm making it right now. If we could just get that out, Ms. Boyd or Director McGinnis, to the board prior to the board meeting. Yeah.
That wouldn't be a problem. Okay, let me talk about the fact that we did have a public hearing where these items were discussed during our virtual public hearing. So for those board members who weren't able to be in attendance, I guess I was remiss in getting that information to them. So moving forward, we'll definitely, even though we do have a public hearing to discuss these issues, we'll be sure and get something in writing out to all the board members at that time, either prior to the public hearing or directly after the public hearing. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'll try to attend the public hearing next year as well too. I kind of heard you implicitly, like if you had been to the meeting, you would have heard these things before. So.
No, I didn't say that. I know there are reasons people can't attend public hearings.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. Again, these are fairly straightforward, so no issue there, at least from my part. Any further discussions or comments about this resolution that's on the floor? Okay, hearing none.
Yep. Hold on a sec. Hey, Dale. my question would be for is, I understand the state of most of our properties, and I, during the announcement of the evictions, it was stated that several evictions were because of maintenance. I wanted to ask Terry, can you provide an example of why someone be evicted for a maintenance fee? Or what are we actually fixing that will cause someone to be eventually evicted? Well, not
So
paying.
I think to clarify what Teresa was saying is that we have had evictions. We have not had evictions for maintenance charges nor for rent. What has happened is when we've had evictions for other issues, be it criminal or other items, those evictions had, those people or those residents that were evicted had charges on their account. And that's what she was speaking of. To date, since the beginning of the pandemic, we have not evicted for rent or maintenance charges.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Hearing no further questions or discussions, there's a resolution that's on the floor. Resolution number 44, approving revisions of the emissions and continued occupancy policy for public housing has been presented. It's been presented and seconded. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Hearing none, resolution carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it. We also have for the executive report, Terkesa Coleman-Lacey. She's going to talk about some updates to our 5-year plan. So Terkesa, are you there? Okay, I see.
Yes.
I'll
yes.
turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. So good evening. I'm presenting the resolution which authorizes the board to approve the fiscal year 2020 annual action plan and also the 5-year capital plan. And with those two plans come the certifications, the budget that's required. So the justification for presenting this is the proposal of strategic planning framework, which warrants all of our projects through the next 5 years, specifically the next action year. Like Terry mentioned earlier, we had a public hearing. Mike and I also attended resident advisory board meeting in order to gain as much input as we could for the compilation of the annual action plan and to include the 5-year plan. The resolution is 2021-45 on page 24 through 27. I hope that you guys had the opportunity to look at your backup work that came with your packet. And so at this time, I'm asking the board to move and approve the resolution 2021 number 45 in regards to the 5-year capital plan and also the fiscal year 2022 plan.
Thank you so much for that. And we have what's been presented, resolution number 45, which is the PHA certifications of compliance with the PHA plan and related regulations, including required civil rights certification, the annual and 5-year budgets, and the fiscal year 2022 5-year and annual PHA plan. A lot of that information has been submitted to the board in terms of detail. So as was mentioned, hopefully you had a chance to peruse through that very enlightening reading. And from that, I'll ask if there's a motion for this resolution.
A motion for approval.
Sullivan, Commissioner Sullivan moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Fountain seconded the motion. At this time, before we call the question, any discussion about this resolution? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of resolution number 45, I'm not going to read the entire title again, but you see it in front of you. All those in favor of resolution number 45, please say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none, resolution carries. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tarkeisha, appreciate it. At this time, one of the recommendations that was made was we, from time to time, have some updates on our family self-sufficiency program. And so last month, we had some information from the Housing Choice Voucher Program. This month, we will have an update from the public housing side. And so I've asked our FSS supervisor on the public housing side to just come on board and share some information on the FSS program as it relates to the public housing side. And also, once she finishes, I have a report that I'll be sharing with you all, just some numbers on where we stand as of today. So Sakina, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you. I know you can't see me, but it's good to see you. Wanted to just talk a little bit about the public housing FSS program. And I'm really proud of our residents and our participants that actually graduated this year, despite the pandemic. I mean, it's been several challenges with work and not just work, but the housing market itself is here. It's houses that used to be 100 and something 30,000 are now 230, 300,000. So we've had a little bit of challenges trying to get some of our participants to, purchase homes and, be able to not so much get approved, but get approved for an amount that's affordable for their families. But despite the challenges, I feel that we had a really great year with our participants. So I want to go right into it and just tell you that we had 20 graduates this year who earned and received escrow in the amount of over $149,399 was given out in escrow savings, and there was money that was earned. So those graduates, they continued to work, and we worked hard. And out of those graduates, out of the 20 graduates, we had 3 purchase homes during this time, which is great. 10 moved out to a private dwelling, so they were able to find some apartments and some affordable housing. And we also have 1 right now. So I would say we have like 6 people that are remaining in public housing that did graduate. However, I would like to call them as being, they're in transitional because they are able to move out. They're just not able to find the affordable housing right now that Huntsville has here. One of our clients, I would say she's working with Habitat for Humanity. She is in their program. So that would kind of take that number down to 5 once her house is built. But I'm still working with her in transitional. We're currently serving 117 participants. We lost 20. We're still wanting to add more participants to the program because I think it's very beneficial and it's very helpful to our residents to have coordinators to work side by side with them and be able to help them reach their goals of becoming more self-sufficient. So last year we had only 14 graduates that graduated during the pandemic. And so we actually did go up. We increased the numbers to 20. And I think last year we had 2 home buyers, and this year we have 3. So we are increasing. I think there's a lot more we can do with extra help. with maybe another coordinator. I think we can service a lot more people than what we are servicing if we had extra coordinators based on the number of people who do live in public housing. So I think we're going in the right direction, and I just wanted to give you guys that update. Do you guys have any questions?
Yes, I do. How many coordinators do you have now, and how many residents are assigned to each coordinator?
Okay, so right now we have 2 FSS coordinators. And as far as assignments, we were trying to average at least 75 participants each, which would be 150. Right now we had, probably starting out, we had 137 because we lost 20. And now we have 117. In the past, we had over 200. You know, an extra coordinator could take another 75 people based on all the population of the people that you're serving. But with what we have right now, right now we have 117.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sakina, I had a question too. You mentioned participants moving out and searching for affordable housing and there being a lack of opportunities there. When you say affordable housing, does that just mean, housing that they can afford, or are they moving to further subsidized housing? Are they moving into the private sector?
They're moving into the private sector.
Okay.
And as you know, the private sector's even gotten a little higher, much higher, the apartments and stuff like that. But we also have people who are wanting to, also buy homes. I had one of my ladies who did get a home that did graduate this year. I think, she bid it on maybe 6 homes, and finally the 7th one she got. And it was like 48 people bidding on the homes. It was really crazy, but she was still able to get one. She didn't give up. Another one of my ladies who's still living in public housing, she's ready. She couldn't find a home at all. And when she first started the program, she was only making $6,500. She decided to, when she, it's about working in the program, but it's not just about getting a job. It's about getting a career, something that can sustain you, and you can take care of your family, you can take a vacation. So when she started in the program, she was only earning very little money, but she decided to go to school, college, and she graduated, and she was at $6,500, and now she's at $78,000, which is amazing. She graduated from UAH, she went for biology. She's working with General Electrics now, and she's trying to find a house, So we got people that are working, and even if they're not working, they're going like to school, because we got to look at that long term, what they need to make the income that they're going to need to be able to take care of their families better.
Okay, thank you. That's outstanding.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
So Sakina, this is Jim Bolte. Good report, very quantified. Thank you. Have you officially made a request for an extra coordinator, or is that what you're doing now?
I've spoken about it, but I'm also doing that now. I'm going to always be doing it, because if our goal is to make sure we're helping people become more self-sufficient, decreasing their dependency on government assistance, then you have to be able to have those supportive services in place to do so. Because, and I think that's what happened decades and decades ago, and this is why we've had this, some people have maybe lived in public housing and depended on the government a little bit longer than intended, is because there wasn't like a supportive services that's in place. But I think I'm happy that we do have some supportive services in place, because some housing authorities do not. But yes, I am requesting extra help for an additional family self-sufficiency coordinator, because in the past we did have one, and we were able to reach more families and help them. And I think it's important for us to continue to do that because the program actually works. But people do need the support, and we could, and we want to make sure we're doing quality work where we can actually spend time with you and not quantity, just trying to get the number, but I need to be able to work with you because it's not just fulfilling it's not just great for the resident, but it's also, it's fulfilling for me too as well. I want to be here to help you, and not be short with you.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. And I think this is one of the key strategic initiatives that we have in our strategic plan. So it's good to get an update on it. And, if I appreciate you raising your hand and saying, this is what I need to make this more successful. So I think, we just need to consider that. I don't know how we pay for it and all that, but, good job. And it's good to see there's progress being made from 2020 to 21, and we just need to keep doing that. So thanks for your big efforts.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Sakina? Well, Sakina, I appreciate you and the report that you were able to give today. One of the things that I'm committed to is really trying to help provide support for FSS. I believe in the program. We've actually had organizations that we've spoken to help us identify funds or try to get other FSS coordinators involved in the program. We just an update though on not only the public housing side of the FSS program, but the Section 8 program. Public housing graduated 20 residents. Public housing graduated 20 for a total of $149,399. We had 19 in our housing choice voucher program for a total of $86,393 for a total of $235,792, which is huge because now we're not only providing housing, we're helping our economy grow by putting people in situations where they can go out and contribute to the larger general community by purchasing homes, getting apartments in the private market. So now we're adding to the economy when we do this. So I'm excited about where we're going in the very near future. One of the things I've talked about on a staff level and spoken with Turkisa about this, we accepted some housing choice emergency housing vouchers back in July. We accepted 110 with the intention of us being able to go out and partner in the larger community, bring in organizations that could help us raise the flag and say, hey, we need resources, we need housing. And I've spoken to the mayor and different individuals about the need for housing. And for us to have 110 vouchers in a city that's growing like Huntsville, but really not able to utilize the vouchers as quickly as we need to, we're really going to hit the ground running in January to just knock on every door that we need to knock on, do radio, television. We're going to have to advertise because for the first time in a long time, we have resources that are not so restricted like they used to be in the past. And so in order for us to get these vouchers out, to get people in the homes, we're going to have community partners. And so in addition to our family self-sufficiency program, we're really going to be pushing our housing, emergency housing voucher program, because again, that's a part of what we say we're going to do in our strategic plan is really promote self-sufficiency. So again, I thank the FSS team, thank everybody for their support in pushing that information out to our residents. Our FSS program really, we have a target audience. We have a captive audience of individuals who have volunteered to be on that program. So it just makes sense to us to target those individuals for the jobs that are coming. I've actually spoken to Toyota Mazda about having a target group of individuals who are looking to be up and out. And so we're going to be pulling on those individuals a lot more throughout the year to say, hey, we have opportunity. If you want to grow, you want to get that house, get involved in these programs because they're going to make a difference in how you transition out of public housing. I also wanted to say that we, with the help of Ashley Jones, who's on the call today, we closed on the Pollard Circle property Friday, actually in the late hour on Friday. We haven't received the check yet, but we know it's in the mail or in the wire. So we definitely appreciate all the hard work that Ashley has done on that project. So Ashley, you have anything you want to say about that?
No, it did close. The money came in from the lender and the buyer late Friday afternoons. The wire was initiated late Friday and probably even after 4 Eastern time, which of course it all goes to the Atlanta Fed. But so I think we'll continue checking throughout the day and we'll follow up if the funds have not hit soon. So it should be 2 wires. One for the purchase price, one for the contribution to the Envision Center. And they should be in the bank soon.
Awesome, awesome. And, you know, as we talk about strategic goals, this is definitely a part of our priority number 4, which is to drive entrepreneurial innovation. And with us selling this, it's going to give us some capital to do some other things. So I'm excited about that. We've also have a contract that we're going to be working on with the sale of the Mahogany Row assets that we have in South Huntsville. I've already reached out to the field office to give us some direction on what we need to do to drive that sale. They've given us a guideline of things that we're going to have to do to make that actual happen within the next few months. But also with that sale of those assets, we're going to go into a lease agreement with them. So we're still going to be able to serve our clients. They'll take the bill on rehabbing those units, but we'll provide them with resources so that some of our Section 8 participants will be able to go back and lease from them. So I'm excited about that partnership. We are working, we just received about 3 weeks ago, the initial MDA from the Michaels Group, the group that's going to be working with us to redevelop Sparkman Homes. I'm excited about that just for obvious reasons, growing up in Sparkman Homes and being able to see something go back that will provide affordable housing to the residents here in this city, the residents who are at or below 60 and 30% AMI. I'm looking forward to something really going back there nice. And not only are we looking at multifamily, they're going to be looking at doing some for the senior residents as well. So we should really start diving into that piece. We have 2 individuals who are finalists for the real estate development position that we'll be reaching out to next week to see if we can get somebody on board for the beginning of the year to help with that. But in the meantime, we're going to take a team approach to our real estate development piece because we have a lot of sharp minds within the agency who are willing to just kind of dissect all the contracts that we have in front of us so that we can make sure that we're getting the best bang for the buck for the residents of this city. So again, that's a part of just kind of looking at expanding housing access and choice, which is strategic goal number 5. So with those sales of those properties and us helping with the development of the Sparkman home, we really should be able to provide more housing for families who are a part of our community. And then goal 3, we talked about maintaining Huntsville Housing Authority as a high performer. Well, in January, we've already got notification of some REACT inspections that'll be taking place on a few of our properties. And so with those inspections, it allows us an opportunity to figure out what's going on in our properties. The pandemic has had us kind of shut off and closed up for the last 2 years, actually. And now with REACT coming back out there, we'll be able to identify some of the needs that we have for the portfolio that we have in place, and we'll be able to make adjustments as needed. And so although those can be kind of stressful, it still gives us an opportunity to identify some of the problems that we had because we've kind of had our residents sheltering in place. And so you know, sometimes it's good to take the cover off things and allow us an opportunity to go out there and look at what we have as far as situations that will help us benefit our residents. And then a couple other things, we're looking to work with the field office. And I think Terry talked about the waivers that were in place. Well, there's another waiver in place for Section 8, and we're looking at increasing our payment standard to 120%. Right now, we got to do everything in our power to be able to compete in this market with Huntsville growing so fast, with you know, units that were $700 3 years ago now being $1,300, $1,400. We're going to have to look at how we can be more flexible. And one of the things that we're doing is working with the field office to take advantage of the waiver that's in place to help us increase our payment standard. It's only going to be in place if we are chosen for a year, which hopefully after that period of time, we'll be able to identify if we need to keep it that way. But the more competitive we can be as an agency, the better it's going to be for us. So we're just trying to do all that we can to better serve our residents. And in closing, I'll say this. In January, I'll be graduating from the Executive Director Education Program. It's a program that's sponsored through PATA, however you want to say it. I need to learn how to say it before January because they asked me to speak at the graduation. So in January, as a participant in graduation, they reached out to me to speak at the event. And so I'm sure everybody else that they asked said no. So this gave me an opportunity to say yes and to speak. So I'll be doing that. And I'm excited about that because, you know, it gives me an opportunity to kind of share my story growing up in public housing and now being in the position to affect policy. I'm excited for the 3-4 minutes that they will give me, but at the same time, excited to represent Huntsville and reach out to other executives across the country and PATA officials. And you never know, Marsha Fudge may be there and give an opportunity to have an audience in front of her. So thank you all for the work that you've done for the Housing Authority this year. Man, it's been great. I'm looking forward to a big 2022. Appreciate all that you've done. And Dale, I'll just turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Tony. Appreciate that. So lots of good updates going on here. Before we close, I do want to talk about Executive Director McGinnis's time here with the Housing Authority, but I want to do that last. Before that, I want to go around the table and see if we have, first of all, no public comments, right? Nobody put in for public comments?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I haven't seen it.
So we'll let commissioners go around now and provide any comments they want to provide, particularly considering that's the end of the year. We'll start with Commissioner Bolte.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Well, congrats, Tony. You know, hashtag rockstar alert, something like that. But really proud of you, and I'm glad you're going to be representing our housing authority in Huntsville and state of Alabama for that matter. So thanks for that. Thanks to all the staff. You know, you guys just do a great job. I don't think any of us take you for granted. I know it's you're doing a big service to the residents, and please know that it's much appreciated. We're very grateful for all the work you do, and then finally to our chairman, great job this year, and to the other commissioners, thank you. It's a pleasure to serve with you, and I'll just say have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan.
Ditto to everything Jim just said. And I just want to speak to the Family Self-Sufficiency Program and what that does for an individual on a personal note. And I want to say, well, in my thanks to all what you do. Obviously, some of you know, my mom actually graduated from the FSS program and purchased her home. And I was able to bring to her attention last week that she only owes like $7,500 on the home, and the home around the corner from her is on the market now for $125,000. So I think that kind of sheds a light on why we all do what we do, help folks become self-sufficient, get to a point to where they have an asset with some equity, which will eventually be able to add to his or her legacy. And in this case, that'll be my mom leaving me with a big gift one day. Well, if I don't leave it for her. But yeah, so thank you all for what you do. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Sullivan. Commissioner Willie? Commissioner Willie? Okay, Commissioner Fountain?
Yeah, I too would just like to thank Tony and all the staff for all this just banner work throughout the year under really trying circumstances. And I think everything, the enthusiasm and the prospects for the next year are even greater. Thank the staff and appreciate the opportunity to work with you, Mr. Chairman, and the board. And I'd also like to kind of go on the record to thank all the support from the community and the churches and nonprofits that I see out there working with our residents, just tirelessly providing resources. And it's just a total team effort. And I think we're going to do a lot bigger and greater things than we've ever done in 2022. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Fountain. Commissioner Willie?
Hey, I would like to ditto everything that everyone said, as well as congratulating you again, Tony, and just the amazing job that the Housing Authority has done. We rose it, you guys rose above, we rose above the water. What looked like it was coming in and we didn't know what we were gonna do. I'm amazed at how strong the team is. So I wanna say thank you to HHA, the FSS program, the finance department, everybody who played a role in this. Also Quentin, who received the award. He's also helping me buy a home through the great program that you guys have. So I just want to thank the team for being amazing, and what could have turned out another way to just find the resources to the plan, the meetings that we've had, the planning that you guys done. Great, great, great job. And have a happy holiday.
All right. Well, I'm not going to do too much of reiterating what's already been said by the commissioners, other than just to say that hats off and kudos to this team and the staff. You make our jobs much easier. Everything from the finances to putting together the packets to dealing with our many questions and concerns to ensure that we're providing our residents with the best housing authority experience and care possible. So really appreciate that. Part of this board's responsibilities is to evaluate the executive director on an annual basis, as with any board. And we did our duties with doing such and had an opportunity to evaluate Executive Director McGinnis's performance for this year. I will tell you, won't go into a lot of detail, but the overall consensus was that much progress has been made under his leadership, and that this board sees fit to extend his contract accordingly. And so in addition to that discussion, we also, of course, had discussions about his compensation. And keeping with previous years, the decision was made by the board to make adjustments to the executive director's salary that were commensurate with COLA adjustments that we would typically see. And so that was put into effect. We also had the opportunity to speak to issues related to any type of performance bonus, as is outlined in the executive director's contract. And based upon his performance, this board made a decision to provide a performance incentive to Executive Director McGinnis, commensurate with what we have seen in previous years from similar performance of the executive directors. And so that was provided as well. So I wanted to have that discussion here to say, again, Executive Director McGinnis, this board appreciates your leadership. We had an opportunity also to talk to you about areas that we would like for you to lean into for 2022. And we clearly expect and believe that you will be just as successful leaning into those areas that we discussed for that evaluation. Board members, anything else to say or relay as it relates to the discussion of Executive Director McGinnis and his performance?
I would say that I suppose for public record, if there's any more detailed questions somebody might have, they can contact you, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Because of Executive Director McGinnis's position, details of that could be discussions that could be had with anyone that wants to reach out to me in reference to that. But again, I want the overall message to be that we appreciate your leadership, Executive Director McGinnis. We appreciate the work that you've done since coming on board. We want to see that continue. And you've got the support of this board as a result of that. Anyone else? Any other comments?
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Hi, it's Sakina. I just wanted to say that I agree with everything you guys have said. Working with Mr. McGinnis this last few years has been great. I feel alive again. I do. He motivates me because he is always going. He is just a go-getter. He's passionate about the residents. He really cares. And because I know that, it motivates me. It brings my morale up. It makes me feel better. It makes me want to do my best work. And I just appreciate his leadership. And yeah, and I know we're gonna keep going further. I mean, he expects it, and when you expect it, your team will do it. So I mean, when we see him doing it, I think that it makes you want to do it more. So I think we're going in the right direction. And I just wanted to say that.
No, I'm sure Mr. McGinnis appreciates that.
How much that cost?
He wants an extra FSS coordinator, by the way.
Yeah.
No, just kidding, just kidding.
Good. All right, well, board, we will be picking up. The plan was to resume in-person meetings for January. And we did say when we had this discussion that if the situation changed as it relates to COVID, that we reserve the right to revisit this. I do want to present that to the board. Again, the plan was to pick up on our in-person board meetings in January. Commissioners, if you feel like that's still prudent, we can proceed down that road. If there are concerns about, based upon this new variant, if we should hold off on that in-person decision for a little bit longer, I'm also willing to entertain that as well too. Any thoughts about next month's board meeting? Commissioner McGinnis?
I'd like to recommend that we not have a board meeting in January because of the conference and the third Monday being Martin Luther King Day. We're actually doing a day of service with an organization. Unless we push the board meeting back, which would give us less time for the February board meeting.
Okay. Are we under any obligation to or expectation to hold a board meeting next month? Does anyone know from a legal standpoint?
No, well, I'm not legal, but I do know we've put them off before in the past. Matter of fact, I think we did the same thing last year. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in the past that's happened before.
Right.
I don't know the specifics of it, but that's my recollection.
Okay. So Tony has presented the option that we would not hold a board meeting for January. And unless I hear any concerns with that, or we get some legal guidance to the otherwise later on, I'm okay with us withholding or not conducting a meeting in January and picking back up in February due to the holidays and the conference, which I think a good majority of us are planning to try to be at the conference if they still hold it in person. Anyone have any concerns or objections to that? Okay, hearing none, let's set our next meeting date to be February. And if there are no other points of discussion, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Get some rest when the time comes, because this has been a stressful year for everybody. We maintain really well because we're professionals, but this has been a challenge, of course, of the pandemic and everything that we're doing. And we'd like to think that next year is going to be better, but we can't know that for sure. But what we can do is take this time to spend time with family, to recharge and get away. Hopefully, Executive Director McGinnis is not sending emails to people during the holidays when you're not working. He shouldn't be, if we can help it. And just everybody come back safe in 2022. That's the goal. Okay. All right. With that being said, we're going to adjourn this meeting. All right, everyone.
Thank
Be
you.
safe.
Happy
Bye.
holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Bye.